Welcome back. In this lecture, we'll focus on structuring your responses for writing task 1 and look at some sample answers to help you understand what a high-scoring response looks like. A well-structured response is key to scoring well in writing task 1. Here is a simple structure you can follow. First of all, introduction, where you paraphrase the task prompt. Then you have the overview, where you summarize the main trends or features. Lastly, you're going to have the details, where you provide specific details and comparisons, which are or is your body paragraph. Sometimes it's possible to have the details before the overview, and the overview is placed in the last paragraph. Let's break this down. In the introduction, you should briefly describe what the graph, chart, or table shows. Use your own words to paraphrase the task prompt. For example, the line graph illustrates the number of tourists visiting 3 different countries from 2000 to 2010. The overview. The overview is crucial and should highlight the main trends or key features. Avoid giving too many details here. Instead, focus on the big picture. For instance, overall, the number of tourists increased in all 3 countries, with Spain seeing the most significant growth. This gives a snapshot of the data. Then we go for details. In the details section, you should provide more specific information and comparisons. Group related data together and use paragraphs to organize your response. For instance, in 2000, 1 million tourists visited Spain. This number rose steadily to 4 million by 2010. The USA started with 500,000 tourists. So we can see the USA here started with 500,000 tourists in 2000 and experienced a sharp increase, peaking at 3 million in 2010. Meanwhile, Turkey saw moderate growth from 200,000 to 1 million tourists over the same period. This provides a clear and detailed description of the data. Now let's expand on this to ensure it meets the 150-word requirement. Here is an expanded version of the same example to meet the 150-word requirement. I'd recommend you to put the video on pause and take a very careful look at this response. This detailed response not only meets the word count requirement, but also provides clear, structured, and comprehensive description of the data. Let's look at a complete response now. This is based on another task with a bar chart. While you're reading the response, try to analyze it. Think of its advantages and disadvantages, and the band it possibly received. I'd like you to spend about 2 minutes on this task. All right, I think the time is up. Now, remember, we can place overview in the end. That's why this sample response could possibly look like this. And the band it received. So this response is considered a band 7. Now let's find out why. You may compare your ideas with what I'm going to say. Remember, we have the 4 criteria, which are used to assess every response in IELTS. So let's go one by one. Task achievement criterion. What do we have here? The response accurately describes the sales figures for the 4 products over the months, matching the information presented in the bar chart. It highlights the main trends and specific data points, such as toys having the highest sales and educational materials having the lowest. The response includes relevant data to support the descriptions, though it could benefit from a bit more detail in some areas. However, it lacks depth in analysis and specific comparisons between the product types throughout the months. A Band 8 response would more effectively summarize and interpret these data points, providing a clearer, more detailed analysis of trends and fluctuations. So, this response received a very firm Band 7 for task achievement. Let's go on. Coherence and cohesion. The response is well organized with clear paragraphs, making it easy to follow. Appropriate use of linking words enhances the logical flow of ideas. By that, I mean the words like overall, additionally, at the beginning of the month. On the other hand, these words really help to follow your response and understand the link between the sentences. Some minor improvements in cohesion could be made by ensuring each comparison and trend is clearly linked to the visual data. The transitions between descriptions of different products are abrupt, and the overview could be better integrated with a detailed analysis to enhance the logical flow. A Band 8 response would utilize more sophisticated cohesive devices and more effectively integrate the overall trends with specific weekly data, making the response flow more naturally. So again, we have Band 7 for coherence and cohesion. Lexical resource. A range of vocabulary is used appropriately, such as steadily increased, fluctuation, decline, and variable. You can see them in green color. The vocabulary is varied and accurate, though it could be enhanced by incorporating more specific terms related to data description and trends. Phrases like play items and garments are less precise or conventional. More varied and accurate terminology like toys and clothing would strengthen the response. A Band 8 response would showcase a wider range of vocabulary and use terms more precisely and appropriately in context. Finally, we have the grammatical range and accuracy, which received band score 7. The grammatical structures are correct and clear, but not particularly varied. The response mainly uses simple and compound sentences. There are a few problems with spelling and punctuation. A Band 8 response would demonstrate a wider range of complex sentence structures and more sophisticated grammatical constructions, enhancing the clarity and detail of the description. Now let's take a look at another sample response. Again, think of advantages and disadvantages of this response and predict the band. You have about 2 minutes. All right, let's discuss this response. It received a band 8, a higher band than the previous response. Talking about task achievement, the response fully addresses all aspects of the task. It provides a clear overview of the main trends, highlights specific details, and makes comparisons between the different product categories. There is no irrelevant information, and the response accurately interprets the data presented in the bar chart. Coherence and cohesion criterion. Band 8 again. Actually, all of the criteria received band 8. That's why we have a round score. In terms of coherence and cohesion, the response is well organized and logically sequenced. Ideas are linked smoothly with clear progression throughout the response. The use of cohesive devices like in the first week, in the second week, in the final week, overall, is varied and natural, helping the reader follow the argument effortlessly. Then, lexical resource. The vocabulary used is varied, precise, and sophisticated, much more sophisticated than the previous response. The response avoids repetition by using synonyms and varied expressions like fluctuation, erratic, stabilized, reaffirming. Word choice is appropriate to the context and enhances the clarity and richness of the description. Grammatical range and accuracy. The response demonstrates a wide range of sentence structures, including complex sentences, and there are no major grammatical errors. This includes correct use of tense, articles, and plural forms. The grammar contributes to the clarity and effectiveness of the response. To summarize, Band 8 responses demonstrate a high level of proficiency with minimal errors, strong coherence, and effective use of a wide range of language features. All in all, structuring your response involves paraphrasing the task prompt in the introduction, providing a clear overview of the main trends or features, giving detailed descriptions and comparisons in the body paragraphs. Practice writing responses using this structure to improve your skills. In the next part of this module, you will complete an assignment to apply what you've learned. Good luck!